Boy, I've got y'all something today. Happy St. Patrick's Day! So I thought fish and chips. I know growing up in South Carolina, when we wanted fish, we went to the river. We went to the pier. We went and caught the fish that we were going to eat. I don't have that luxury here, so I just had to go to the store. I intended to get catfish because that's something that we would catch right out of the pond or the river back home in South Carolina. But today, I've wound up with some cod. But that's going to be fine. We will make do with that. So what we're going to do is I've got 2 eggs. I've got some malt vinegar and a sconch now of Worcestershire sauce. So what I'm going to do, I have put a little bit of salt on one side of my fish. And this is just going to be my little marinade here that we're going to let this soak in for just a little while. Okay? Just a little while. I'll flip it over before too long. So there's that. All right. Now, our chips part of this. I do like homemade French fries. I bought this slicer, this mandolin, if you will, but the problem is it will slice, but we get these little teeny chips, these little teeny potato French fries. So I decided that for my day today, and it's just me, so I don't have to do a lot of these. I can get that out. I wanted a much bigger chip, if you will. I wanted to realize that I am biting into a potato. So I'm gonna make my hunks of potato just a little bigger. Just a little bigger. About like that. So I'm gonna cut them by hand. You can cut the skin off if you don't want the skin. We've talked about this before. I don't mind it. I'm not going to waste those little ones right there. That's dandy if you want to do it real fast. It's supposed to be very easy so that you're not worried about slicing your hand off or anything. And I'm just going to do 1 potato for me. I don't need a lot. No, this isn't for a restaurant, so I'm not worried if they're actual same sizes or not. The only time I'm gonna worry about is when they go to fry, so I'll just make sure they're not too terribly much bigger than the one right beside them. Get that one more bump right there. And so there's our French fries. Now, I could throw these straight on into the grease, if you will. Someone asked me what I meant when I said grease. Well, that's whatever kind of oil you're using. I think I'll hunt that one down just a little bit. There we go. Not too big. So I'm going to brine these in water and just a little bit of salt for probably 30 minutes to an hour. I'm not going to get in a hurry with this today. So just going to cold water, let it sit here and brine before I throw this into our grease. So there's our bowl, brining our chips. And once that and the fish kind of marinate for a little while, we'll come back, we'll batter these things up. There you go. Got a little bit on both sides. And then we'll stick them into oil and fry them. All right, so I've got my grease warming up for both my fish and also my chips. They're still brining in this salt water mixture here. And I'm going to coat my fish now with my flour. And I wanted to break this down a little bit into more of a fish stick kind of thing. So I'm just going to cut that piece in two. And mostly because this piece was a little wonky for me. That piece is going to cook a lot faster than that one. So I don't want that side to dry out. So I decided that I want to cut this more like that. Okay. So what I've got here is about half flour and half cornmeal. And we're just going to dredge our fish in the cornmeal like so. Coat both sides. That'll be good. And that's what we want it to look like. Lay that piece right there. I'm gonna kind of do it that way. And I've got a fresh pan of grease over there because in my house here I have a seafood allergy. I'm going to be very careful with this to make sure everything gets washed really good once I'm done cooking this fish, so we don't have any cross-contamination going forward. It's going to go immediately into the wash. So I've got 4 little pieces here of my fish. I hear that grease starting to warm up over there. I'm also warming the grease for my potatoes and kind of deep fry them in a pot, if you will, that we kind of just keep some grease in. So there's our fish. We'll move you to the stove and then we'll get this in the fryer. All right, so my grease is ready. I'm going to shake off the excess flour. I'm going to drop that right down in my pan. Like so. Make sure that one's covered real good. And we are frying cod. This is not going to take long. This piece will take the longest. Probably close to 5 minutes for it. But that little teeny piece right there, that's going to be more like 2 to 3. All we're going to do is brown our fish real good. I've got my pot warming back here for my chips. But to be honest with you, I was worried I couldn't do 2 things at one time. So I'm going to get the fish done and then I'll come back and finish off the potatoes. So let me put this away. Don't want to mess with it too much. We don't want to knock off our coating on the outside. That smells really good. So we'll only flip this once. You get a plate and put it on while we wait. Alright, that looks like it's getting pretty brown. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. I forgot to do that. It was on 8, I'm going to turn it down to about 6. Oh, that's pretty. That's real pretty. Trying to be very careful not to knock off any of that coating. We're not going to be wiggling these around too much. And then my last piece. Ah! Get over there. I messed. Alright, you cut off on me there. I'm dealing with some issues with memory on this phone. But you see here, our cod is pretty much done. These bigger pieces have cooked closer to 5 minutes and they are ready to come up now. That is just turning out absolutely beautiful. Trying to be as gentle as possible with them. I'm going to get them on my plate and then next I will get my chips together. Alright, there we go. Alright, so we're going to continue with our chips. Here's our fries. They've been, that grease is really hot. I cut it down to 6. I'm being very careful. Putting this in, dropping it in. we're getting a little hot. We're gonna pull it back a little bit. Let them calm down. All right, so here we go, our plate of fish and chips. There's our fresh cut French fries. Our chips. Here's our fish. Cut into it. Like that. Look, doesn't that look good? Nice and yummy. It's rather tasty. I got a hint of that vinegar in it. Okay. Man, that's as good as going to a restaurant. I'm gonna finish this and let y'all go make your own. Happy St. Patrick's Day.